again from the Northcoates Nieuport 11 build. Just like to say a hello to all those who have joined after watching Scott Matthews' latest video. Thanks very much for showing an interest in my build as well. I've been following Scott for probably about 18 months now on his build, and I'm just amazed at his talent and his professionalism and his proper engineering skills. If you've tuned in hoping to see some more of that, you're going to be really disappointed, I'm sorry, but I do my best, and as an engineer I make a really good musician, so that's the score for here. While I'm on it, thanking people, I really appreciate Scott giving me a mention, and it certainly helped with my viewing figures. But like him, I really just started this as a way of sort of just as a diary, really. I've always done a diary for the builds I've done and kept a record of it. This is a much better way of doing it, and hopefully share a bit of insight and pitfalls and everything else of making a kit aeroplane for those who are interested. So please keep watching, like and subscribe, as they say. I'd also like to thank my partner's Uncle Graham. He very kindly dropped me off a whole load of spanners and stuff, which I'm sure at some point will come in very useful. So thanks, Graham, appreciate that, mate. And yeah, you can never have enough tools, can you? If I ever get to learn how to use them, that'd be even better. That'd be a bonus. So we're back at it today. I'm going to work on the seat. I think once I've got the seat in place, then I can adjust things like pedals and get sort of a feel for where it's going. So I'm going to find a place for my arse to sit in the thing, and I shall keep you informed. Enjoy the vid. So I'll start off at the tail here. As you can see, you've probably seen from the last video, the tail rudder elevators are all in place. I have the elevator push rod in place, which is this bit here, if you can see that. That's the elevator push rod. As you can see, I've made some nylon guides just to along its length, just to keep it in place. Obviously they have to be bigger than the actual rod, because there's quite a lot of movement on the rod as the stick moves through the its motion. Left, obviously it goes left, right, back and forwards as well, so there's quite a lot of movement, so it's just there as support at its extremes, really. The other little job I've done, you may be able to see here, is I've created some guides for the rudder cables. Excuse me, cut hand. Guide there, guide there. There's two more I've just put in here that I've not run through yet. They're still in the process of being, well, I've just put them on basically, so I've got to run the cables again, but I'm thinking I might actually run the proper cable rather than the string. And we've got a little bit of a roller here. I don't know if you can see the roller there, but that's just a roller from the rudder pedals. So that's that bit sorted. I also have to route the okay, all right, cheers, bye. I've also got to route the wheel, the tail wheel steering, which, as you can see, the string is currently attached to that one there, just as a rough guide, and running along the bottom there. And again, I've put a couple of rollers in place here that will go to the tail wheel, which you can see down there. I'm not sure about the routing under here and where it's going to go. It's gone under this. It's gone under this cross member here. I think it probably needs to go under that cross member there, which it doesn't at the minute. It goes over the top of it, as you can see there. But I probably have to route it under, which will probably mean a couple more rollers of some sort, probably like these. Quite like these rollers are quite nice, but they only work in one orientation, so that's a little bit of a problem with the but I might be able to put them at 90 degrees on this. I'm thinking aloud here, might be able to put them at 90 degrees on this cross member here. The other thing I've been playing with, which takes a lot of time and faffing, is the seat. You can probably see down there, I've got some scrap and just put some bits of alloy together as a seat, just in the hope that I could sit in it and see, but it really didn't work. It wasn't stable or anything, so I couldn't even get to sit in it. But as I've mentioned all the way through this, I want the seat as low as I can, and that is the lowest that bar will go there, that extension. So obviously when it goes back, that goes lower, so there's plenty of room. It's full extension, it's never going to go that far forward, hopefully. So that's the plan there. This isn't how the plans show it for the aircraft plans, but I think that it's going to have to go this way. The other problem I've got is, as you can see from the scratches on here, the piece I made over there, that's where the legs fit. That ain't going to work, because that means the legs go right over where the push rods are going to go from there. So I need to bring this whole thing inwards a bit, which means ideally it wants to be here. It wants to be up there, which, as you can see, is right in the middle of the foot plate. So I really don't like that. Don't quite know what I'm going to do about that at the minute. I really don't know what I'm going to do about that. Hence, I've been getting some tubing together there. That's I'm figuring is going to be the base of the seat. That's where my back and my spine will stop at that point there, and then hopefully we will go up to the seat backrest there. So with slight recline of the seat, hopefully legs are long enough, and then the front of the seat is, well, the front legs are going to have to go on here, but it is going to be quite a, if I put them in at that tightest point there, they're going to be quite narrow. It's going to be quite a narrow, I mean the seat doesn't have to be that narrow, but the support for the seat is going to be quite narrow. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that yet. I'll have a think about that. Another 3 o'clock in the morning job. So that's it for today. Got that all done. I'm pleased with the way the elevator push rod's gone. I was thinking the routing, certainly of the rudder cables, is going to be fine. It's going to be tight up against the fuselage sides. It's going to be with the guides there. That should be good. Still not sure about the wheel, the steering, tailwheel steering. And the other thought is, do I have just one full cable from rudder, loops through the pedal and then loops back to the steering? Is my other question to myself. Do I loop it all through so you get, I think that's probably the way I'm going to go, rather than two separate cables. Just loop them through, sort of, as you can see there. Those are actually two separate cables, but two separate strings, but that's sort of the plan there, and I think that would work all right. But again, bit of trial and error really, and I can't do any of that till I've got my arse sat in the cockpit so I can see how it feels. I've got some and the other question is whether I put some springs on the tail wheel as well, or the Sonex is direct steering, very direct, rudder to tail wheel, and I love it. It's extremely good system on the Sonex. So we'll see. Lots of thought, lots of thinking now on this part of the build. Lots of creative work, I guess, which I quite like. That's it. That's part of the joy of doing this stuff, and particularly with this kit. It's been a lot left up to me, good or bad. That's how it's been, and I've quite liked that. I quite like the problem-solving bit of it. It's going good, but yeah, she's looking pretty good. Back on the build. Lots more of those little fettling jobs now with the controls, so I have got, if we can see it's just moved by itself, poltergeist in again. I've got the rudder cables all, obviously the cables aren't in yet, but the cables are all through the feeds there, one on each side there, and obviously the bottom ones I've shown you before. I've also run the rudder cable on the other side, and you can see that, but it goes under just there. We see it moving down there, moves under those two crossbars, and again it goes through these little feeder tubes. They seem to be the most efficient way of doing it. Those things I've made there, just a plastic insert, they seem to be the best way. Not sure about these rollers. I may, so you can't see them. I'm not sure about these rollers there. They're too, I don't know, there's too much room for it moving, I guess. We'll see in operation, but I can easily make some more of those the tubes there. They seem to be the best bet. The other thing I've been working on is the seat. As you may be able to see, this is my idea for the seat. So it just looks like a jumble of tubes, doesn't it, really? But that's the seat there that goes up to the back. They're not cut to length, but I've bent a seat. Oh, I just knocked it off. Right, I've bent the seat pieces there. It's really not very easy to see amongst this jumble of tubes, but the seat is bent. Nothing's put in place yet. This is still very experimental. I've put a bracket across here, which will be riveted in place, obviously, and then I'm thinking the seat I can then drill and bolt to this crossbar, and then I can take it out should I need to, rather than riveting it in place. It will be just bolt through there, and then I can lift the whole thing out should I ever need to. The feet of the seat, which are currently resting on this, are going to have those on them there, riveted to them. That's the plan, probably one either side. I've created that thing, which will just support it, and then it'll be bolted at the base there and at the top, I'm guessing, as well, when I get that sorted. But that's my plan with those. I've got four more. I've got four of those done, one cut as a template, and then 3 more to cut out tomorrow or whenever I get a chance. So that's my plan for the seat. It's all just lots of little jobs now, really, lots of time consuming jobs. I think I'll come to the seat and then back and forwards from it, if you like. I think I really need to sort out the proper rudder cables next, see whether the system's going to work. Is the test will be in the actual using of it. So yeah, I think that might be the next job for next time I'm down. Be a few days time, but yeah, all little bits done. Call it a day again. And again, you know where I am and what I'm doing, so I won't run through that rigmarole again. Just a little catch up, just Sunday morning, about 10 o'clock-ish, I think, something like that. I don't know, I rolled in at 2 this morning after a gig, so if I'm looking a bit rougher than usual, that's what it is, rock and roll. First thing, reached 100 subscribers. Thanks to all you guys who've come across from Scott Matthews' recommendation. Quite a milestone, 100 subscribers to the YouTube. I was expecting, well, that's 100 more than I was expecting, to be honest. So that's really nice. Thanks ever so much for your support and your interest in the project. Really nice of you. I've had a few questions as well, a bit more interaction with people as there's more people now watching. I've had a question about the wing attach points and stuff. So what I'll do is I'll turn this around and show you that, and go through how they're done, because they look quite simple and feeble, if you like, but they're actually really strong. So I'll turn this around in a minute and show you the wing attach points. The other thing I got asked about was, I think it was Nate Draws Things in Canada, asked about the 300k limits. The only way the Airdrome aeroplane kits can come to England at the moment is via the 300 kilo maximum all-up weight SSDR rules, which is single seat deregulated. So there are no inspections required for the build, that they have to be single seat, and the all-up weight, including pilot and everything, fluids and the whole lot, is 300 kilos. So I don't weigh that much. The aeroplane's light, and I'm trying to keep it as light as possible, so we should fit in that no problem, touching wood. The other questions I've got asked, about the design really. Paul got in touch with me. He's very kindly created some designs for the finished aircraft. He knew that I was interested in making it a bit of an homage to the guys who flew in the First World War, but he suggested that it might be a nice idea if I thought about what an aeroplane, if I went back in time and was a pilot of the period, what I would choose as a design for the aircraft. And he's come up with some wonderful designs, so I'll get those put on at the end of the video and see what people think. So please feel free to comment on ideas, but I'll put those on at the end of the video and see what you think. But I think they're absolutely fantastic, and it's really changed my ideas of what I was going to do. Rather than do somebody else's aeroplane, do it as my choice of colours, really. So see what you think. I'll turn this around, and while I'm at it, working on the seat again today. This isn't the seat of the plans, and it might not be the finished seat, but I do want to get sat in the aeroplane and just check the lengths of rudder throw and all that sort of thing from the pedals. So sorry about the engine starting up. That's my plan for today. I'll keep you informed. But first of all, I'll just show you those wing attachment points, and you can see how it works. Cheers, guys. Right, so these two bars here are the low wing attachment points. As you can see, there's a cross member that goes through here. Basically, it's a continuation of the front and the rear spar. Rear spar there, front spar here, and inside is bolted to the two uprights here. A bolt goes through, and there's a steel connection there. Same on the rear, and those two bolt through the lower spars, the front and rear spars of the lower wings. So those are the simple attachment points there. They're good solid steel, and of course the stress of it is mostly in tension there. It's in and out sort of tension, because it's pulling the wing upwards, the lift. There is a slight amount of rearwards from air pressure, but that's relatively little. Also, the main of any biplane, there's also, you can see this, the cables. The cables are really what takes most of the stresses of the wings. So, of course, that's just the bottom wing. On the top wing here, we have the spars are bolted through this piece here, come together and are bolted through. You can see that, two bolts through each spar, and the same at the front there. They come through that through the God, it's gone from my brain. They come through these uprights, and they join together. If I can show you a front spar here, the two spars are joined together, and I've made two metal plates that go from each spar, bent at an angle, 14-degree angle, and those two are bolted together there. And then of course you have the flying wires. So there are wires at the front here, wires at the rear, and then there are wires that go from each end of the wings. So you've got the flying wires that stop the wing collapsing upwards, and the landing wires that stop the wing collapsing downwards. And it's those wires that take all the stress, to be honest. They're the main support for the wings with any biplane. And the fact that it's a box as well, it becomes a box section rather than just a single wing section. So this is one of my thoughts currently. At the moment I've got these turnbuckles on here, but these cables, particularly these ones, are going to take quite a lot of stress, and these are not aviation spec turnbuckles, so I am seriously considering certainly changing those two just to put the cables in stress them up. When I've got the wings on, I might take those off totally and make new cables and swage them on, but you know how I love swaging. So that's one of my thoughts. The rear ones are not such a problem, but those two will be taking quite a lot of stress, and rather than suspend it on two turnbuckles, I mean, they're fairly good quality. I think they're the marine quality ones, but I don't think they quite have the threads, the internal threads in the barrel there. I don't think go as far or as long as the aviation quality ones, so it's on less threads, if you like. So that's the wing attachment points. When I get to rigging it up, I'll go into more detail if anybody's interested in that sort of thing. That's the seat as it stands up to now. It is not the seat from the plans, and it might not, as I said, be the final incarnation of the seat, but I do like it, and it's extremely light. The plans call for a wooden bucket seat, much more like the original aircraft, to be honest, which were usually wicker in fact, but it's more of a bucket type seat. But I quite like the look of this one. It looks, now I've come back into it today, it looks better than I thought it did, to be honest. So that's what I'm up to now. I'll get that finished, and I shall keep you informed. I'm calling it a day again now. Not got much done today, but a few bits. Say working on the seat. I'll show you that in a sec. Some of you may remember that when I built this curve above the cockpit in the top wing, I thought it looked too shallow, and it wasn't. It was too long and shallow, and it suddenly dawned on me why. And I went back to the plans, and this rib that I've actually just moved, I'd moved too far out. It was this side of the cable, rather than, it should actually be 2 inches from this crossbar here. In the plans it says if you know, if things interact with bits, just move them. So I did, but that was one obviously I really shouldn't have moved. So with my usual another error, minor error, so I've managed to move it quite simply, and I've actually, rather than being 2 inches away, I've actually used an attachment to this crossbar and just moved that rib. My patented hole finder, which is on there, came in handy again, and we've just moved it from, it's moved about 6 inches roughly, maybe a little bit more, so it's made a wider gap between those two ribs, but I don't see the point in moving that rib just to make more holes in the spar. Well, you know what experience I've had with holes in the spar already, so we won't be doing that again. But that's worked better, and now we have a much tighter curve. It's very easy to do because I'd left the ability to move that curve anyway because I wasn't sure about it, so clearly I was thinking ahead slightly. But that's still needs cutting to size, as you can see, but it's changed, and I've put an extension in there. Just needs tidying up when it's riveted in, but I also use some of the good old JB Weld, which is my favourite product, I think, really, and that's just moved it all along. Well, that's the gap there. You can see that piece I've put in. It's about 4 inches in actual fact, so it's not massive problem, but it does
make it look more, again, it's more aesthetics. I might have been, with a wider gap, I might have been easier to get in and out the cockpit, to be honest, but I thought, no, we shall try and get it as accurate as we can. And on that theme of accuracy, if we can get past that. Again, it's always, with a light aeroplane like this, it's always a case of adapting things and you know, trying to get as near as you can to the original, but within weight limits. So that's the bracing for the seat. I've just painted white, hence the protection there. I'll probably leave the controls in the natural aluminium, then I'll be able to see any corrosion or anything on them. We'll see. I might paint them yet. We'll see. But that's the bracing for the seat there, and the seat itself is here. And the reason for that is it weighs absolutely nothing. If it weighs 400 grams in that state, I'll be amazed. The plans call for a plywood bucket type seat, much more like the original seating, which were wicker, as I may have mentioned, generally, but the other one looks more the part, but it's plywood, and it's got a decent strength plywood. Then you've got to bolt it onto the brackets on the bottom, some more substantial than I've got there. So I'm hoping, at least this is made out of scrap, so if it doesn't work, it's not the end of the world. It's had to narrow in at the seat base there, but of course I can sort of extend the actual seating area. What I'm going to do is put a sheet across there and across there. Just use aluminium sheeting. I've got a bit of aluminium, old ribbed aileron sheeting from something or other, so I might try that and see what that looks like or whether it works. And obviously cushions on it. So it's in primer at the minute. When it's dried off, it will go in here, resting as you saw before on the where the foot pieces there are, and we'll see. Then I'll get sat in it, see what adjustment I need on my rudders there, and then once I've done that, I've ordered a couple of springs, so I'll need some springs, something to hold those as against the rudder cables. So again, we'll see when I get sat in it. My only thought now is, after saying about looking out of proportion and stuff, because you can't change the proportions of the pilot. Sometimes I wish I could, but whether it might be too low now. I might have over-egged it and gone too low for the seat, because there is some, obviously the fuel tank's got to go in here, there's got to be a turtle deck on the top there, turtle deck on the bottom, so, you know, I might be doing a Lindbergh and flying the damn thing with a periscope if I'm not careful. So, that's the score so far today. Calling it a day, and I am going to have some rest. I'm going to just chill for a while, because it was a late night last night and I don't want to make any more mistakes. I've made a fair few, so I've got the other wing to change, like I've done that one, obviously. That's the first one done, but it was really extremely straightforward, so I can't complain. Thanks a lot.